First off, I'm very blessed to hold the position of Chief Justice. I've held it for 14 years, which is now the longest any citizen has been so privileged. I look forward to going to work every day. Not everything I do is fun. A lot of it is, it's tough work, but it is work that needs to be done. And for a long time, people would ask me, well, why'd you become a judge? And I really didn't have a good answer, and that bothered me a lot. I mean, you couldn't explain why you're doing, your life's occupation. And then one day I was listening to a talk by Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, and he said, you become a judge because it's important work worth doing well. And that's the best definition I've ever heard of why you be a judge, or be the Chief Justice. I mean, I wear a lot of hats besides presiding over these judicial proceedings. And I guess maybe as a little aside, my vote counts no more than the other 4 associate justices. But I also oversee the administration of the court system based on rules made by the entire court. That is about 535 employees and about a $40 million budget, because we run the court system for the entire state of South Dakota. I have to deal with the legislature on a budget for the entire system for the whole year, and deal with the governor on the budget. And also, as the Chief Justice, I'm called upon to speak frequently in public events. My staff started keeping track because I didn't have any idea of how many speeches I made a year, and they say I make over 30 a year. And also represent then the judicial system when I speak, like at the State of the Judiciary message, letting the people of South Dakota know what's going on in their court system, because they're entitled to know, they're paying for it. I also represent South Dakota in the Conference of Chief Justices, which is an organization working to improve the state judicial systems in every state in the country. So that's juggling a lot of hats. But it's challenging work. I can't think of anything else I would rather do. I'm 64 and a half years old, and basically I have no regrets. What a privilege to serve the people in the way I've been allowed to do.
Well, when I sent in my letter to the governor to tell him I was retiring, I said it's been the greatest privilege of my life, and I guess that sums it up. It has been the greatest privilege of my life. It's been an honor and a joy, and it's been heartbreaking and difficult and enriching.
Well, I guess the only concluding comment I would make is I'd like to thank the people of South Dakota for giving me the humbling experience and the honor to have served them. I realize the responsibility that is involved in this job, and it is truly humbling and an honor, and I'm very grateful that people put their trust in me to do the job, and I hope I've done a good job.
Oh, it's very, very humbling. It's a big responsibility to all citizens in the state and to the state to do the job and do it what I feel and what other court members feel is the right way by studying the law and studying each case and making a reasoned decision. And it's a responsibility that we all take very seriously. It's a real honor to represent this state that has been good to me. It's a state where we have the wide open spaces and we can fish and hunt, and I fly an airplane, so I can do that here much easier than I could if I were living in another part of the country where it's confined by not the wide open spaces that we have. Still have contacts with the family farm, and that's all important part of living in the state. One part of the job that really has struck me that I took for granted in college and growing up, and that concerns me, having been in the court, is how fragile our government and legal system is in this state and in this country. I mean, we're a very young democracy. We're still working out some things. And some of the things that I've seen and how if we don't approach our job correctly, it could endanger that stability of government and the confidence of people in the government. So we have to do our job right to maintain that confidence.
So the thing about this job is that all the way along, from being a magistrate judge and dealing with traffic tickets to being a circuit judge and deciding between two very normal looking people who should have custody of a child, or making the decisions that we make as judges, it's just something that I know all 5 of us take really seriously, and it's an honor, and it's a huge responsibility to have that job and to do that work. And so that the citizens of South Dakota and that the governor thought me capable and qualified to do that is something I'm grateful for. And serving the public in this way is something also that it's a huge honor.
Being a judge in South Dakota has been a great honor to me. I've had a career that I've enjoyed a lot. There's been many heartaches and many frustrations and many tough decisions and a lot of sleepless nights. There's some times that things were really difficult during the AIM cases and those kind of days. But I've been so proud of this court system. We've got wonderful judges, we've got wonderful court staff, and I just feel, at the risk of sounding like Lou Gehrig, the luckiest guy there is. I have no regrets in entering the legal profession, certainly no regrets about becoming a judge. There's some things I wish I could have done better, but I feel good about it. I don't lay awake at night feeling bad about my choice in my career.
Well, it was an incredible job. It was the biggest challenge I had in my life. And I love the reading and the writing of opinions and, and the meeting and having the terms of courts. And we'd go out almost every night, the whole court, all the members of the court, later on. And so it was basically friendship, companionship in a business setting, and loved the people we worked for and who worked for us, the clerk of courts, Sherry Anderson and the state court administrators. I'm not long on administration, but I tried to do my share, and the whole process was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. I don't think I could have ever found anything that matched my abilities, or that my abilities matched better than that.
Well, what do I take from it? It was a privilege and an honor to be able to serve in that position. And if you had asked me what would I think if I was going to be on the Supreme Court in 1964, I'd have told you, what are you talking about? No way. But I made it. So I thought that was just an opportunity that I never thought would come about, and I'll cherish it for the rest of my life.
Well, I really felt honored to even have that opportunity. I mean, I just told you about my background. I mean, really, farm girl from a very rural area, grew up with parents that neither one of them had the advantage of an education. It was quite an honor to be able to rise to that level in your profession. So that means a lot to me, and I've always worked hard at everything I've done. It seems like everything I've accomplished, I've worked hard to get. So and I know a lot of other people do, and I feel real lucky about that.
Well, I've been fortunate. My health is still good, and my memory is pretty good for a man my age. I can say I've been privileged to serve on the State Supreme Court and now on the federal bench. It's not only an honor, it's more than that, it's a privilege. Wonderful people to work with, wonderfully talented staff to work with, both in the state and the federal court system. It gives us, as far as looking back over now, let's see, on January 5th, I guess I'll celebrate my 44th year on the bench. One looks back over what one has done, and as is true in all areas of life, one thinks that one could have always done a little bit better, but you take pride in what you've done fairly well, at least, and I hope I've contributed to the judiciary on the state level, especially during reorganization. I hope I was helpful to Chief Justice Begelmeyer and the other Chief Justices and members of the court, and I hope that I'm doing my job. On the federal bench especially, it's an honor to, in effect, represent. We're not representatives in the sense of state legislators, but under the federal statute, each of the seven circuits within the 8th Circuit must have a judge. So when I retire or die or leave the office, my successor will come from the state of South Dakota. So to that extent, we're representing our state. And I hope I've represented our state, not only the citizens, but the state bar. I have tremendous respect for the members of the South Dakota State Bar. I think it's a wonderful group of lawyers, as good as any I've seen around the country. I hope I've served them well as in effect as their representative on our Court of Appeals. And I've enjoyed the work. I continue to enjoy the work. And it's the most wonderful position anyone could ever want as a lawyer.